G'day, I'm David G, Sheshnag Yoga Center. What on earth is Kundalini? Sheshnag.com. This video is about Menswork and reintegration, coming into fullness. If you've been following my videos, you realise that I've been doing a fair bit of practice in the last 2 years, say, maybe year and a half, after I succumbed to the inevitable. I've been trying to connect with males, or just connect in general. I used to have an aversion of looking into people's eyes. I used to have an aversion to feeling people. I've never been homophobic. Actually, like some really beautiful aspects of homosexual men. In general, it's never been a threat to me, because my own sexuality, I'm confident in that. So sometimes I've been investing time in researching myself and trying to be around men and connect on an emotional and spiritual level. Also get validation and confront my own discomfort. I've been to a couple of different workshops and only men were the participants. Then I went to the Tasman gathering last year, helped out in the kitchen. This year I went again, and I went to one in Victoria called Menergy. So in those experiences I've realised that the spiritual work's the same no matter how you do it. Whether you go to a dance class for 2 hours, whether you go to a walking meditation, whether you go to a yoga class, whether you go to a drumming circle, it doesn't matter what it is, whether you go to a men's circle or whether you go to a focused women's group, all the practices are designed for reintegration of your own being. So in your own being, either through whatever experiences in life, little parts of yourself have been invested or left behind or fragmented at certain points in your life to do with whether it's pain or trauma or attachment, whatever it is. You're not whole. You're not in the dynamic of fullness that you really want to be. So in that, the practices are designed to go from the external rational mind into an experience called the hypnagogic state, where you turn off the alpha and beta waves to become more subconsciously aware. So you're in a theta and delta brainwave activity, and then after the process has been done, you become externalized again and come back into the waking state. This the 4 states that they talk about in yoga. But ultimately, the practices are designed for you to go into your subconscious, grab some things, become aware of them, embrace them, and free yourself from them in regards to what you express in your everyday life. Whether they're emotional wounds or parental conditioning or societal misinformation, there's this process that is going on. And the Menswork weekend that I just went to, it was a beautiful experience in that it's a massive, massive dynamic and a huge safe container where you can come in, do your work, go back out, go through a whole lot of grief and catharsis as the patterns change and your life becomes more of a conscious one, and you break some of the cycles of the old patterns that are keeping you in a subconscious rut to do with separateness from everything and living in an expression that's not your own fullness. So how do you reintegrate? That's up to you. I suggest that a little bit of it's going to be uncomfortable. If you only go to the pleasure-based philosophies and practices and you don't have the discipline to be able to do the practices which are uncomfortable, oh, by crikey, mate. Speaking of that, makes me feel sick in the stomach. You know that I've been going to the dance hall, the 5 Rhythms dance, once a month as much as I can around my children and around my work and other things. But I can tell you, I don't like it. Every time I approach the door, I feel like I'm going to vomit. I feel like someone's kicked me in the guts, and I feel like running away, because that's how confrontational to me the embodiment process is. There's the truth, the God's honest truth. I feel sick to the stomach at the thought of having to go in the door to do embodiment practices that I've avoided all my life. The same with the intimacy to do with the feeling. I have a tendency to try and not be embodied and not embrace the pleasure of my own physical being. I still practice every day to try and work on my own sacred sensuality and sacred sexuality. It's not like I'm wanking, getting a whole lot of pleasure from it. It's like, do I have to? Oh, mate, break this pattern. Let this this experience manifest in your everyday life because you've been doing the practices where you move and where I'm moving this energy through my own body in a meditative state. So I'm actually stirring up my etheric body that's responsible for the creation of my everyday experiences. So in that, I'm experiencing the discomfort that I have to overcome through being disciplined enough to want the goal of what I want. And the goal is, I want intimacy. I want an intimate relationship with myself. I want an intimate relationship with God. And I want an intimate relationship with others. So in that, I have to do the work, which is uncomfortable. And me as a person, I need to be motivated to be disciplined enough to desire the outcome, to put in the hard work. That's a part of my reintegration. And now, at the men's gathering, I cuddle men and rub up against them and feel their beard or their rough skin on my neck, and I think, this is beautiful. And I just sit there and our guts are touching. Not that I've got much of a gut, but we're close, mate. And the other day I stood like 1 foot here, 1 foot there. He had a foot there and foot there, and it's like, this is beautiful. And then the energy moving between us is quite arousing, not in a sexual way, in a purely intimate way where there's total vulnerability and all guards are dropped. So to get to that point of intimacy, I wouldn't be able to get there if I didn't put in the hard work to be disciplined, to be motivated to get to the destination. And I know that in the spiritual world, there is no destination. It's all about the journey. If you want to be a better person or more conscious, then let's get it straight, mate. There's a destination. And the destination is fullness. And that happens through conscious reintegration. A lot of the time it's not a comfortable experience. It's going to be uncomfortable. And you need to work hard. Or the choice is yours. If you don't want to work hard, that's cool. Just have a messed up life and respect others enough not to involve them too closely in your stuff that's unconscious, because if you don't want to own it, then don't rely on someone else to bring you home. You need to own your stuff first. I need to own mine. The ownership is a very uncomfortable experience because that's where I need to take responsibility. But only I can do the work for me. There you go. Share the world. Do the work. Feel the pain. Be disciplined. And it's going to be hard. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Mahadev. Peace.